What?
Yes, you have this
Good
executive.
afternoon, everybody. Oops, hi guys. Sorry, I didn't hear what you said. This is Joy Lacherie. I'm with you here today with the After Four Band, and that is Mira and Tom, Bill on drums, and Dimitri in the purple shirt. So we're gonna have some fun today and find out about these folks. In the meantime, I'm gonna have to find the button that I need to share this with on. It should have already showed. Hold on, I think I have to do this on my phone. But I'll be with you in a minute. I do want to tell you about Chad Quist. He is the sponsor of the program, and he originally started his studio for drummers and guitarists. But since he's expanded to doing a lot of production work, he does produce most of what I do. And he has a lot of other clients that are beginning to work with him. So if you have any studio needs, do contact Luscious Moz. He is on Facebook. And Chad Quist is also. So you can either go Luscious Moz Studio or Chad Quist. He can help you, I'm sure, with just about any need you might have in that area. So if you just give me a minute, let's begin with Bill. Could you give me a little bit about your background, like when you started, and what you started on, and how that kind of brought you up to where you're at today?
Well, I guess I got lucky because my father was a drummer. And so I found his drums, and that was pretty much it for me when I was a year old. And by the time I was 4, I realized that this is really what I wanted to do with my life. And so beating my head against the wall for as many years as I did, I managed to play with a lot of luminary people. I was Ike Turner's last drummer in life, and then I went on to play with a gentleman named Paul Gilbert, who he's in a band called Mr. Big, and they've been out touring lately. And so I'm home from all that, and Tom and Myra and Dimitri asked me if I could do a couple of gigs with them, and I did, and then the rest is just history so far.
So who did you have any like influences? There's a lot of genres out there, and every one of them have a different mode. They're a little bit different style. Did you have any preferences or anybody at the time that you really thought that I'd like to be like that guy?
Yeah, there was a lot of drummers that I aspired to be like, and they were my influences. Without getting too far into the names, Vinnie Colaiuta was a big influence. A guy named Jeff Sipe was a huge influence on me. And I always just took the attitude that music is music, regardless of whatever it is that you're playing. And so my whole philosophy about playing drums is I draw lines in coloring books for other musicians to scribble in their creative colorations. And so that's my whole philosophy behind playing music in general, is just to keep the lines nice and tight and clean. So, it lays out for everybody else to do their part. And that makes for, it makes for a good experience overall.
Right. I bet you can make or break a band. A drummer can make or break a band often.
Well, a good transmission and drivetrain in a car, you could have,
exactly.
You could have a really great, really crappy looking pickup truck with a great, drivetrain, and it'll take you coast to coast. Or you can have a car that looks all shiny and brand new, but if something is wrong with the engine, it's not going to go very far.
Absolutely. I agree.
The drummer's the drivetrain in a sense, drummer and bass player.
Yes, absolutely. Because that's what we dance to, right?
It's rhythm. Yeah, right. Rhythm.
In fact, most of the time, if you're a dance band, they don't know that we're making mistakes with the words because all they're listening to is those beats to dance, right?
Pretty much, it's the whole marching powder in music, I believe, is the drum and the bass.
Exactly.
Because the bass is like it continues the melody, but it also helps to further the cadence.
Absolutely. I'm a rhythm player. Not the best in the world, but I try. And I know that I follow you guys. I never know what the lead's doing. I just tune the lead out. I'm sorry, but I don't follow the lead. They get mad at me. But I listen to the drummer and the bass. That's where I'm at. And if the drummer is really, really good, I don't need anybody else. I mean, that's all I need. That's all I'm hearing. And the bass just blends right in with that. So with that being said, you have an important job. It sounds like you do it very well. And I think you're all happy to have glad to have each other and happy to have each other. And it's a good thing because you mesh. So Dimitri, you're the bass player. How did you start? Did you start on the bass? And how did that bring you to finding this band? And how did you make contact with Tom and Myra?
I did start with the bass. I'm playing guitar, lead guitar in this band.
Oh,
But
I made that assumption.
a few decades ago, I started off on the bass, and that was a good learning school. It's a very I don't want to say it's basic, but it's very instrumental in learning the guitar and then
Absolutely.
increasing the strings and going forward.
Right.
So long time ago, different world, pretty much different different times for me. And Tom and Myra and I were playing in a different band a couple of years back, 3 years back maybe. And we kind of split off of the band and started our own thing. Tom and Myra approached me to see if we want to do kind of a dinner show type music. It would be a trio. They played as a duo at the time, but they wanted to see if I would play guitar with them, and we started off as a trio about 2 years ago.
All right. And how did you say you met? I guess I had to look at my phone for a minute.
Yeah,
Sure that
we were playing in a different band, playing some of the festivals and places like that, and that's where we all came out of. Yeah.
Cool. Well, I know a little bit about you, Tom and Myra, because I was watching you at the Oxford, and I had no idea that you're putting a band together. I'm really glad that I thought you two were probably just a twosome and doing a duo. And imagine my surprise when I realized that you actually had put together a band. Can you tell me a little bit, starting Myra, your background in music? I read your bio, so I know, but my people that are listening out there may not. And then we'll get to you, Tom. And do thank you, Dimitri and Bill, for giving me that information and sharing it with our viewers.
Well, my background is I grew up in southern Indiana, Kentucky. My mom's side of her family was very musical. Everyone played some sort of instruments. Did a lot of church music and would go and after church, go over to my grandmother's house and sit around, and I played the piano, and we'd have an uncle that played the fiddle or the mandolin, and one that'd be playing guitars, a couple would play guitars, harmonica. We had it all growing up.
Sounds like fun. It sounds like fun, family fun.
Those are sweet memories for me. But we did a lot of hymns and then bluegrass style music and country music. But of course, as a person, I was much more interested in rock music or pop music. So
you do that. You do some of that too, right? You do it. I mean, I don't think. Are you any just one particular genre, or do you kind of branch out into everything, a little of everything?
We're very eclectic, I'd say. We have some jazz songs. We have rock, classic rock, and some pop, and some indie type music. So we try. Whatever kind of strikes our fancy, what we think will work well with the band, either light drums or highlight the guitar or the bass or my vocals. That's what we try to gravitate toward.
Yeah, I haven't heard the band, so I'm anxiously looking forward to that. I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
Well, I hope you'll come on out. Yes,
yeah. And anybody listening, come join.
We have a website, after4band.com, and there's video there as well as the show schedule and a mailing list that you can get on.
Yes. I'm still figuring that one out. He keeps asking me stuff. But yeah, that's where I got a lot of the information to post for letting people know that you guys are going to be on today. And I'm not sure why I had one person show up live here that was actually allowing me to do it. So I'm not sure what is happening out there. If anybody is listening and you can message me, let me know if you're seeing this and everything is fine. So I guess that leaves us to you, Tom. I did take the pictures in the advertisement from that site, and I'm still trying to subscribe to it. So I'll get there.
Cool.
Please do.
I will.
Sorry?
Yeah, you're on. What's your background, Tom?
Okay,
You're the
so
bass player. Hello. I should have known.
I mean, I started playing drums as a kid, not as young as Bill, but maybe 7th grade, and
Hmm.
played most of my younger life in a few bands here and there. Picked up the bass maybe 30 some odd years ago, but playing the drums always kind of trumped me learning the bass. And it wasn't until in the last, I don't know, 7-10 years that I committed to it and really never looked back. I mean, I really like playing it.
Yeah. So if I understand it, correct me if I'm wrong, Mary, you took some time out from music, correct? Before you start back in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got married and had 3 kids, and that kind of put all the music aside for a while. I was focused on mom and Uber driver and all that.
Right. Gotcha.
The mom Uber, not professional Uber, but
Right.
all their activities, their sports and their musical theater and all that kind of stuff.
Ah, okay.
Years ago, that the nest became somewhat empty with everyone either in college or out on their own. So
Yeah, been there, done that. So Tom, so the way I understand it is that you guys finally decided to go back to your music or had the opportunity to do so. Is that correct? How did you start? I mean, when did you start even? I don't even know when you guys started playing. I only saw you at the Oxford.
Yes. I mean, we started just fooling around with a duo type of thing 5 to 7 years ago. I don't remember exactly when. Yeah, we got the idea from a duo out in New York and thought, we could kind of do this. And that's kind of how it started.
Mhm.
Jazz standards, things like that. And then we got wind of some Jeff Lynne acoustic ELO renditions and thought, we can do that as well. And the idea was, well, let's try to get some big rock band stuff and pare it down to make something tasteful for Myra's vocals. And that's what we were doing. We keep doing that, trying to, the challenge for me is trying to figure out, well, what can I do just with the bass? And then Myra plays the keys. That's kind of how we started. And as Dimitri said, we brought Dimitri in, see if he wanted to play guitar, kind of broaden our repertoire with the guitar and do the trio thing. And it was at a winery gig that it finally dawned on me, well, it's not so much the lounge music that people want to hear, but the dance music. And that's when we started going to more up-tempo stuff, outgrew our drum machine, and here we are.
Tom was the beat before dancing with the bass and the thing. So he loves having a drummer. We all love having a drummer, especially like Bill.
Absolutely.
Hey, you got a job, Bill. So how long ago was that? I mean, because I didn't get wind of it until I asked you guys to interview with me on my program. So how long ago did you guys get together?
We started over a year and a half ago, bringing people in and trying to find the right fit for what we were doing. And then
good drummers are hard to find.
I agree. Oh, don't I agree?
Play drums, but there are not a lot of drummers.
Good leads are hard to find too.
Yeah. Anyway, we had someone who had to leave abruptly towards the beginning of this year, and Bill, I reached out to Bill. So we met Bill when Myra and I had a brief stint with a band called Chasing Oz. And that's where we met. Bill filled in for an evening that we did at the Parkwood. So I reached out to Bill to see if he could help us. And now here we are.
It's
All of
great
us
to see
there.
you do.
And it's been pretty good. I'm pretty blessed to have both those guys.
Right, absolutely. I've been trying for a while to put a band together, and it's a no-go so far. But I don't want to do 4-hour gigs. I'm just not up to that anymore. It's time for me to do something a little bit less. So that's what I'm doing.
4-hour gigs are really hard. Speaking of matured musicians, I have arthritis in both of my hands.
Wow. Yeah.
And so it's a matter of like, I have to like sort of ramp up to doing gigs because I have to take ibuprofen and then put on some Voltaren cream and then let all that get soaked in before I play. And then, that carries me through the night.
Right.
And yeah.
There's a new idea out there. Some of the guys that do improv been doing it. And what they do is they got two bands and they go to the person who's booking and they say, we'll do 1 hour of such and such. And then, 2 hours. And then the other band will step in and do 2 hours. And I don't know how it's working. The last time I saw it done was at Duval at the Twin Dragon. I don't think you guys have ever been out there, but I don't know how it went. I don't know in the overall scheme of things how it went, but it is an idea and it's been floating around out there. I think that would make things a lot better for a lot of people. And then you're more diverse too, because what you're bringing to the table, they can then put something else out there. So for one half of the night, these guys are going to be playing one thing and then maybe something the other listeners really groove to and get out and dance to. So either way, it's a good time. We'll see. We'll have to follow that and see what happens.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is. And I think it's time for us to talk a little bit about, I know you have to leave at 2:30, Bill. We'll just say goodbye, but I hope to see you live somewhere down the line.
Yeah, oh, totally. Yeah. Well,
So
we hope to have you out.
So you guys, you were in a band during COVID, but you, Tom and Myra, were at least out there trying to do something. How did that affect you as the two of you, and then how did it affect you, Bill, and you, Dimitri, as far as your overall abilities to play and be in a band and continue to that nasty period of time? We'll start with Myra and Tom. And excuse me, everybody, because I keep getting her. I don't know. I pronounce her name Myra. It's really Myra. So excuse me if I made that mistake.
It looks like it should be Mira, so it's not but
Yeah.
it is. But yeah, as far as COVID goes, we were in the band with Dimitri called Road Trips Northwest.
Oh, okay. During that time.
That during COVID, and we were like our own little pod practicing music together, which kind of helped keep the same truth be told.
Yeah.
A little escapism. You could get out of the house because you're locked up all the time. I told people I understand now why dogs are so excited to leave the house because
Exactly.
Person you're always at home all the time and you just get out of the house feels great. So but yeah, kind of a sanity thing. Do that for a couple months towards the end of 2020 and beginning of 2021, and then started playing with that band. In fact, we were one of the first bands I think to play at Tony V's. Kind of did it as a benefit because trying to help these places.
Yeah. They were losing money right and left. Do you write? Do you guys write? Your own music? I don't really know if I've ever heard original songs, so you haven't.
I've written some stuff, and I haven't had it out there for public consumption yet.
Yeah. Well, I'll be waiting.
I don't know about Dimitri and Bill, and I know Bill comes up with the drum lines for a lot of people. People stuff all the time, right, Bill?
All right.
Yeah,
We-
I do a lot of studio work. Yeah.
You do? Okay.
Yeah. I do a lot of recording for other people, and you know, different things. See, people send me different projects. This morning, I did something that sounded kind of like 38 Special.
Oh yeah.
You remember that band, 38 Special?
I don't.
They were big in the 80s, and yeah,
Was it rock? Was that a rock or?
It's like classic rock.
Yeah.
You've
I
heard
didn't
their
follow
song.
rock then. I just started with rock.
You've probably heard their music. You just in the grocery store or someplace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's when you've really made it, is when your songs are being played in the grocery store.
Elevator
I'll
music.
keep that in mind. What were you doing, Dimitri, during that period of time?
We were in that Road Trips band. Actually, gave us a little bit of a runway. We started off kind of during the COVID, you know. Yeah, gave us a little bit of a runway to get up to up our music set to for upcoming what we're hoping opening of no COVID, and you know, gives you time to also sit down and absorb instead of running around all the time
Yeah,
gigging,
which is what
following
happens.
equipment. Yeah, you do have time to actually study up maybe some more and learn and yeah, practice by yourself,
Yeah.
which is important.
Did any of you feel like it might not come back, or did you see a future, or did you think that maybe things were going to stay the way they were because of the fact that these clubs were floundering and a lot of them have closed since then? Anybody?
You know, I was on tour in 2019 the whole entire year, and
Wow.
and it was pretty awesome. And the band that I was with, well, the artist I was with, Paul Gilbert, we were about to make the second album of the group, and you know, so that whole thing got like completely sidelined by COVID, and then yeah, and then I came home and basically built a studio.
Yeah, good idea.
Killer.
But it was life altering.
It was very life altering in so many ways. It was the most painful experience I've ever been through in my life. I can say that with 100% assuredness.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was the COVID was not a pleasant thing to happen.
experience, and hopefully that'll not happen again.
Yeah, well, I mean, if it does, what are we gonna do? You know,
Right,
you just,
right.
you just have to like just kind of like put one foot in front of the other and be like, okay, well, how do I protect myself and my family and you know, just do your best.
Okay. Tom, how were your feelings during that, and how does this band work? Are you guys all part of the leadership of the band, or does Tom and Myra kind of have to say what goes, or she's pointing at you, Tom.
So everyone has it. You know, I guess I'm the one who's going out there, you know,
The
trying to
business side.
trying to do the business side. But as far as what we play and how we play it starts with our vocals,
Right.
and we all, you know, we decide what do people want to hear.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
we've been getting a lot of great feedback from just the different mix of the tunes that we do, and a lot of the tunes are not typically covered, which is kind of cool. But it's an all for one band. There's not cracking a whip or anything. Everyone has it.
Yeah. The thing is, somebody has to get the big gigs, right?
Yeah. Yeah. The grind of it all. Most of the grind falls onto Tom, but we all try. Yeah. Or have I? Bill's helped a lot with the website stuff, and we have my niece Shannon shout out to Shannon. She does a lot of our promo stuff for us on social media.
Great. Yeah.
Dimitri. He's
So-
been our,
And
he's become the sound man.
Oh,
everyone-
you the sound? You run the sound, Tom?
Dimitri does the sound.
Oh, Dimitri. Okay.
He's
Yeah.
kinda-
That's the next really important part, right?
he's doing a great job.
Yeah. My husband does that, and he's been getting himself in a little bit of trouble because he sometimes gets up there and tries to help when there's a problem because he knows it pretty well, and he's done it for a big production company, kind of a part-time thing if they had a crisis. So he filled in, and it gets a kind of touch and go sometimes.
Well, the husband-wife thing sometimes can be complicated.
Yeah, well, he's he unlike you, Tom. He doesn't have a function at the moment because when we were doing our band, we did it for 15 years. He was the sound man, and he was the person who go out and get the gigs. But now he's kind of like, I'm just jamming, so he's kind of like a loose cannon. He doesn't know what to do with himself, so he has a tendency to try to help, and not always appreciated. So anyway.
What was your band? Was it country music too?
Yeah, no, it was variety. It was much like what you guys are explaining right here. I was a country singer, but just about everybody in my band either did backup vocals or they sang. And as a result, we had 4 people, if not 5 sometimes, depending upon who was in the band. It was kind of like a railroad station, in and out sometimes. But they all sang something different. One of us sang more blues songs. So one of us
Not at the same time, right?
Pardon?
Not at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. And so we would kind of go around in a circle, like a song circle, but we were boundaries standing up in front, and somebody, when it came to their turn, they play whatever that they felt needed to be played at that time for the people who were dancing or the people who were listening. We could kind of get a feel of that. So we had quite a repertoire. We played things like tangos and sambas when it was asked. We even played some polka music. And of course I did the country, but I also played all the other things. So it was we were more of a variety band than a country band, but our setup and the way that our sign and the way that we presented ourselves was country, cowboy hats and all that good stuff.
Well, hey guys, I'm going to have to bail out of here.
Well, thanks for joining us, Bill, and
Thank you for having me.
And I'll be anxious to see you in person.
Yeah, you too. It'll be nice to meet you, and way to go with a podcast.
Thank you.
Webcast. It's awesome. And I've watched some of the other episodes you did.
Thank you.
So yeah,
Thank you very much.
Thanks for doing this and having me on.
Take care.
Okay.
Bye.
We'll see.
Thanks, Bill.
See you guys.
Bye.
Okay.
So yeah,
All right.
this whole thing got started because of COVID. when I was going through that, now why did that change? Well,
Because Bill signed out.
yeah, and now we all went straight up. Okay, yeah,
Cool.
this thing got started 3 years ago in COVID. I think the first one was in the fall or August or July or August of 2020. And when I was thinking about it during COVID, I thought, well, I spent about $1,000 learning how to market because I was creating music for the first time. I never wrote before. I never wrote music before. And I thought, well, what am I going to do with this? I got it out there, but who's going to listen to it? I'm not going to be able to gig. So this young lady that I was studying under for marketing suggested that I start a podcast. And I said, well, I don't play well enough for that. I didn't have the confidence at the time to do that. And so I was thinking, well, what can I do that would benefit the music community who've been so generous in the 20 years I've been in it to help to get other people noticed and out there, especially people who are just starting bands. And that's how this all came to be. So, and I hope it's working. I know I have a few bookers out there who do watch this, even if they don't do it live, they do watch it. So
That's a
we'll see
wonderful,
what happens.
wonderful way of making lemonade out of lemons, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Good
Yeah,
job.
well, I can't say that I didn't get a lot of help. There was this couple. He's called Raymond Hayden, and he down in the Tacoma area has worked through one of the, can't think of the first name of the company. I haven't been down there forever. I think it's Ted Brown's music, and they were trying to promote younger people that were coming in and starting out and so forth, and older people too, I'm sure. But he got involved with helping people get noticed and get their music out there. And so he was my first person who interviewed.
Cool.
And from there it went on and on and on, and here we are. And the name has been quite a challenge because you assume for mature musicians, I'm talking about older musicians, which I am. But there's also, it's to me, as it progressed, it became more about the maturity of the music. I
Yeah.
mean, there are young people in their 20s out there who play better than somebody who's been playing for 50 years. You know, it's just a matter of when your music begins to mature and develop. So.
I'm gonna say these all these 5-year-old players stuff on YouTube.
Isn't that discouraging? I mean, oh my gosh. There's this little child that came, and one of them, I was watching, and somebody sent it to me, and it's this little kid. I don't know how old they were, but yeah, wow, what a drummer. I mean, where do you go when you're that good at that age? I mean, God, astounding. Now we've got that whole AI thing competing with us, and at some point, you know, that's gonna replace musicians. Let's hope not. We'll see. Yeah. So you guys have, oh, I'm sorry. You know, you guys are cutting out. I just want to let you know, I was trying to tell you that earlier. There's been some kind of a problem with the transmission. I'm not sure. Dimitri's coming in clear as day, and Bill came clear as day. But there's been a little bit of cutting out. So I was interrupting you, but didn't mean to. But it's because I thought you were done. So
That's fine.
this is electronics. If you have a band, you know all about that, right? Okay. So do you guys have like a 5-year plan of where you'd like to go in the future? Or even a year into the future? Where do you see yourself going with your music? Do you have a goal, or are you just in that process where you're getting it all together and haven't quite thought about that?
I think we're more in the process of just getting it all together and keep building on what we've been doing. It's kind of exciting because as a band, I mean, we haven't been doing it too long, but it's been going at a rate that's been cool. I mean, we're not around for 20 years or 10 years. You know, we're still trying to build some, you know, recognition and credibility in the community, and we're having a lot of fun doing it. So, you know, the goal right now, the immediate goal is continue doing it, play bigger venues, and then see where it takes us.
Yeah, sounds like a deal. A good deal. I'm sorry, you're still cutting out. Can you repeat that, please, Mira?
I was wondering if Dimitri has a 5-year plan. I hadn't heard it.
Yes.
I would like to know if you know, everybody in these bands today that I've come in contact seem to have like 15 things going on. Either they're doing solos or they're in other bands. What's happening with you, Dimitri?
Well, 5-year plan is one, to retire and play music full time.
Yeah.
And then the other side of that plan is finish my YouTube PhD in music.
Are you really doing that?
No, that's where I get a lot of ideas, though. I keep saying that you can get PhD out of YouTube these days, you know.
Yeah.
But yes.
Most self-taught, right?
Pardon?
Dimitri is mostly self-taught, I believe. Is that
Mostly
correct?
self-taught.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I'm really anxious to hear you guys play.
I don't. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's a good plan. I think so.
So how do you self teach yourself to play lead?
Well, you start off. When I started off so early, I I can't even remember. I mean, you're just watching somebody moving fingers around, and you try to. It's like nothing makes any sense. Still, a lot of things don't make any sense, right? And with YouTube revolutionized the whole
Yeah,
thing. Not necessarily
absolutely.
just YouTube itself, but you
Right.
get the ideas, then you find those
The
instructors, and
tutorials. Yep.
yeah, it's that's probably been where most of my learning came from is YouTube, as a matter
Right.
of fact. Yeah.
Well, Chad Christ, who produces my music, I happened to find him at a jam, and then during COVID, I was looking, and they won like $800 for so many hours around in the studio to produce music, and I'm like, okay. And so I found out he had a studio, and I asked him, and so at some point I asked him to be my guitar instructor, and of course he plays for a band that used to be Heart. I don't know if you ever heard of Heart, but they have a band. He plays lead for a band called Heart by Heart, along with other gigs and so forth. And he's taught me some of the little licks because country, I don't know, you and Tom probably know this, that there's pretty much a specific lick for that country song. That country is known for what the guitarists put in, the riffs that they put in the music, right? And to some extent, rock, but I think rock is not quite as structured there in that way. So I've been learning a little bit about how to do this, but when I play rhythm, of course, I used to have somebody who's playing lead, so I don't need to do anything. So I just play the chords and rhythm. But I'll tell you what, I can't imagine. You must have a talent to do that, because I'm having a struggle just doing all these chords and doing the noting on it to bring music in to the part where I sing.
Yeah.
And it is, and some of those, and he gives me very basic, very simple, but I know how difficult it must be. And then there's something called noodling. Can you explain what that is?
Noodling. Well, I'll just echo what you just said about learning over the course of your life you end up learning quite a few things on the guitar, but a lot of
Right.
times they're not connected and you have huge gaps in between. And of
Yeah.
course, going back to basics and learning scales and learning
Right.
modes and those things, oh, now everything's kind of glued together, right? And now things start making sense, and now you can approach things a little differently. And yeah, so as far as noodling goes, noodling can be a good thing, can be a bad thing. I mean, if you're noodling is can get you some ideas. You're just wandering around the neck, playing to a backing track or something, and all of a sudden you found this something that you really like, and okay, that produces a good result. But sometimes, probably most of the time, noodling is not necessarily a good thing. Is you're just repeating over and over what you've played for the last 30 years. So yeah, can be a good thing, can be a bad thing.
Do you have a hard time with any genre that these guys are playing and singing? Are you the
No,
only singer,
not
by the way?
really.
Are you the only singer, Myra?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay. So it's playing for Myra. Pardon?
Trying to get Dimitri and Tom and Bill to want to sing, but they said that better if they didn't. So
Yeah, yeah.
Hey guys. So you have any problem playing country with America? She's doing some pretty advanced country music songs that I've heard so far. They're not just three chords and the truth.
well,
So the question was, Demetria, do you have any problem doing that and doing the country riffs?
Oh, country is yeah, I can fake country. I'll tell you that much. I can play one or two of those licks that you were just talking about, right? That kind of signature country things.
Right.
And that's we don't play a lot of country. I mean, we play a couple of songs that I would call contemporary country rock, maybe, and it's a little different than your typical country. So yeah, getting by with that. Yes.
Yeah, good for you. I can't do rock save my soul.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done it. I mean, I've gone into it and found the chords and the music and memorized the lyrics and all, and it just doesn't work for me. There's something inside me that just shifts back to, and I don't really mean Southern country. I'm talking more about the kind of the kind of things that country is moving into, which means um, most of the older country listeners don't like today's music.
Mm-hmm.
It's more rock.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, country rock, more or less. Yeah.
Yeah. And yet I get the rock part of that. I just don't. I know that a lot of people don't like it, and it's just sad because I think it was time for a country to get a little bit more further down the line into the future. So
Yeah.
anyway,
But it has become quite popular with the younger age
Yeah.
group.
yeah,
But it is, so it's kind of, I think Lainey Wilson has a song, something about country.
she's great.
So she kind of blends a lot of the traditional country, your rock,
That's a key. Yeah, exactly.
Dolly Parton-ish type voice with the more of
Yeah.
the rock.
Yeah, she's on Yellowstone. I've been watching that. So I'm waiting for like they got us hanging. I never know when it's going to come back. But anyway, so moving along from there, when you're facing the crowd, I'm going to say Mira because Tom doesn't sing and Dimitri doesn't sing. But when you're facing the crowd and you're playing your keyboard or you're just standing there, singing or using the tambourine or whatever, have you gotten to the point where you can begin to feel the vibes from the crowd, from the people, the fans that are listening, or the people that are listening to you? And how do you feel about that? How do you think about that, or do you? And maybe you just don't.
Definitely, the more comfortable I'm becoming as a front person, it's a process. I'm
Yep.
working at that, but I'm getting more comfortable in that role. And I definitely feed off of what other people are doing. It gives me energy. If a person is out there really getting into the music, it just amps up my energy so much more. We were at the Oxford, I guess, a couple weeks ago, and there was a couple that came in and they started really dancing to the music. It energized me so much. That's wonderful when that happens. It's a given.
Absolutely. Because that's what it's all about, right? I mean, at our age, we're not going to be big stars up in the, touring. I mean, it might happen, but usually it's not.
It's not in
It's not this one.
the but no.
Poker.
Yeah. So we do a really wide array of things. And one song that we did that I was talking about where the people really got into it by Lady Gaga called Poker Face. And they got into it and it was so much fun.
Wow. I got to hear that. I've never heard that song. I'm even going to look on the internet when we get done here. So I do have a listener, Rose. I don't know if you know Rose. She comes in the Oxford and usually sits down next to me. She hasn't been there lately. I think she's it's hard for her to sit that long and to make that whole trip through that Oxford gang. And we do want to say hi to her. So hi, Rose. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for following. And I know that there's going to be people we can't see because you don't get any information from YouTube when it's out there until we're done. So I don't know how many people might be watching. And then I can't see matured musicians anymore because I've got to activate it from my phone and share. So I don't even know until we're done if it's showing. But keeping that in mind.
Fingers crossed. Hopefully
Fingers crossed. I hope I fix that. Yeah, Facebook decided to yank it. Oddly enough, even though I can't go in and air from matured musicians, I can air on YouTube, of course, which is different, but I can go in on my business page. So if you ever need to stream something live and you have a system like this to do it, that's the only way now that you can stream. So what where do you feel like you are in this whole music journey at this point? Or you feel like you're at the beginning? Is it hard or easy to get gigs at this time? Do you find enough work out there? And I guess that's you, Tom.
We're, I guess we're somewhere in the middle, I think. So you asked, is it hard to get gigs?
Yeah.
Yes and no. Yeah, some gigs, yes, some gigs, no. We've been pretty successful, in Woodinville, and so first off, everyone, since we've been playing out, whether it's with the band, whether a former band, or with the open mics, or people that we've just played with here in our little here, everyone has been wonderful. And the venues,
Especially Jerry.
everyone has
Larry.
been wonderful. And that in itself is a blessing. And an eye-opener for me, just all the great people that we have come to meet in a very so some of those people, some of those venues, we welcome us back, and word of mouth, we've gotten gigs. But the type of gigs that we're trying to get, bigger venues, difficult, but we've got our foot in the door at some places that we're pretty happy with, and it's not like we're sitting around doing nothing. We've got
Right.
at least a gig every week for the next several months. So,
Speaking of gigs, what do you have coming up, and where is it? This is something I know that you can find on After Four Band.
After4band.com with the number 4 and subscribe. You could find our schedule there. So in the near term, over the next several weeks, so this Friday we're at Harvey's Tavern.
Where is that? What city?
99 near the Toyota dealership. It's a cool little
Edmonds.
tavern in Edmonds.
Okay, Edmonds. Okay.
Then
Here- There, go see them.
Yeah.
Then Myra doing the farmers market in Homish the week after. Then we're at the Oxford that following Saturday, the 25th. So you know where that place.
25th of May or June? May. Okay. I'll get to put that on my calendar. Is this Friday or Saturday night?
That's a Saturday night.
Okay. Starting at 8 or 8:30?
8:30. 8:30. And then in June we've got a private event. We'll be at Dock Riverside one weekend. We'll be at Tebow's one weekend. We're going to be at Angle's Pub during the week. I think the third week of June. Then got a couple of weeks off in July, but then the end of July we'll be at CCR Saturday night. I think that's the 20th, Collector's Choice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully I can get out there on the 25th.
That'd be great.
So I'm going to ask each of you this question. I'm going to start with Dimitri. What advice, given your experience in music, would you give to my listeners who might just be starting out and just beginning to seek out places to play?
Places to play?
No, advice.
Oh, advice.
For beginners.
Yeah.
Beginners.
Well, I gotta say, everybody says it takes talent. Probably does, but also takes a lot of practice. I hate to break hearts out there, but it takes a lot of practice. You've got to put time in.
Absolutely. How about you, Amira? How would you describe, or what advice would you give?
Well, for me, if it's something that you love, I think you got to pursue it. That could be little steps as you get, but keep going. Don't stop. Even though you might think I'm too old to start this, we're pretty old when we started doing this again, and it's been a lot of fun. So And if you can find a place where you can explore and it's in a supportive environment, like going to the Oxford for their open mics. When we first went there, we were supported right off the bat. And that just gives you confidence to keep going. So as long as you can find some people to support your interests and your goals, then just keep working hard. And like Dimitri says, it can be kind of work, but all fun and games. The performing when you're out there is fun. The practicing and the getting everything down and making sure that you know what you're going to be playing and how to play it and when to come in and all that work, but it's got its rewards. So
Absolutely. I agree with both of you. Exactly. Practice, confidence, and getting through. I mean, I think a lot of beginners, even me, even now, have stage fright of some sort that comes out like mine comes out forgetting words because I don't use anything. I try to remember them, but I can be at a gig and sing a song 1,000 times the right way, and then that one time I can forget a whole sentence. I'm going da 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 until I get to the point where I can pick it up again. Tom, you get it right.
Can I get by saying what they said?
Nope.
I guess this advice is probably more for me than anyone else. Is just have fun and get over yourself and don't take it all seriously. I mean, work hard to perfect what you're doing. I mean, you have to do that, but it's not always going to pan out the way you want. It doesn't just last off. So next time you see me scowl off stage because I played a jazz note, just tap me on the shoulder and say, "Hey, didn't you say it?"
Oh gosh, I know what this is. Oh, been there. Anyway, you know, I've been told over and over by certain musicians who've been out there a lot longer than I am, like 30 years or more, and have gone, some of them hit the big time, like Lynn Sorensen. I don't know if you've ever seen his music. Not to talk politics, but I never do what I'm supposed to. But one of the things that I find, and I've found in these 20 years, is a lot of rock bands and some country bands, not all of them, but there are some, that they're all guys. And women are, you know, I feel like I'm always struggling through, you know, swimming the English Channel, just trying to get to the other side. A lot of roadblocks, and it's not always easy for women to break in, and especially if you're the singer and the other guys are not performers. So I have to bring that up because lately I've been going through some of that, and what I notice is they're not aware of it. They don't know they're doing it, but it's an attitude that kind of lingers, and it shows in their behavior. And I'm a hothead. It just ticks me off, you know, that is still around and it's still there. So have you felt, as a question, you don't have to answer. If you feel like you don't want to do it, don't. But have you noticed any of that happening?
Where I felt that as a woman I wasn't as accepted, or
Right.
I think sometimes if we kind of sing all sorts of songs that maybe originally were performed by male artists,
Right.
I'm a little concerned about how acceptable it will be. But for the most part, people have been pretty supportive.
Yeah.
At least I felt like that. Maybe I've just tried to just go out there and do the best I can and let the chips fall. Even though it might be a female vocalist song, I'll just, like, we do some Led Zeppelin songs.
Great.
But it helps.
Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah,
right?
we're doing Ozzy Osbourne song.
Super. They
Guns
wanted
N'
me.
Roses.
Yeah,
Or is that Dimitri? What?
Guns N' Roses we do Chris Stapleton. Yes.
Those are my favorite. I like them.
so I've not, I guess I haven't focused on that too much or haven't noticed it too much. I've just felt like for the most part, it's kind of, I love it when when we are at, like, say, the Oxford, another open mic, most of the
Yes.
people are men, especially at
Yep.
the Oxford. Once in a while, you get a few women up there, and I think it's great for us women to support one another.
Yes. Yes.
Really, not be worried about someone sounds better than you do or whatever. Just so
Yeah.
we're all
There's
trying,
always somebody better.
and we're always trying to create art. That's what this is. So if we can just be supportive of each other's art, that's
Well, I notice it. Maybe I'm a little more sensitive to it, but I do notice it. And, yeah, sometimes I have to walk out rather than open my mouth. I don't know what's going to come out. So when I'm irritated, it's there. But yeah, I hear it, I read it, I see it. And I don't know. I think it just, the people that I noticed in the audience that we're singing with are less likely to do that than guys in the band. And I think it's just old habits and old thought patterns from the past.
well. I
So
agree, but I just try not to focus on that.
I need to jump off, guys. It was a pleasure talking to you.
All right.
Yes, thank you, guys. Gotta jump off. Got
yeah, we have 4 minutes, and okay, bye-bye.
all
Thanks,
right.
Dimitri.
Bye bye.
Okay.
And then there were two.
And then
There
there
was
was,
now we're back to yeah. So I probably shouldn't have brought that up, but I think it's important that women, and I keep trying to encourage women to come out and sing and to go to these jams, and if they're already a working band, that's they don't need that. But and more women are turning up here and there, even in Oxford. And of course, that's a very accepting um, place to go because those musicians, almost all of them, know each other and they encourage each other. And the sex doesn't matter, no matter who you are. And just so long as you're playing and having a good time, they are going to too.
Jerry and Larry have been wonderful to every.
They
I've seen
are. They
gracious
are.
to every musician.
I highly recommend that if you're a starting female singer and you want to try your wings, that's the place to begin. That's the place to start. I do go to other venues, and I don't want to point it out. I think it's the industry as a whole, and I think it's kind of an attitude that kind of carries over. But there are people who have managed to swim that channel and do it quite well, like Dolly Parton, for example. She has that beautiful charm that just comes across, a loving person, and she came through all of that. Plus, she's become very successful on her own, so she's the one calling the shots, right?
She's a wonderful role model.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're listening out there, even though it's not my advice, take it from Mira. Yeah, there's a lot of support out there for you, and you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be good to the point where you think you need to be. That there's a very supportive group in just about every jam that I've gone to, one or two. There's going to be some different people come up do different things, but don't let that discourage you. It is something that,
The more you do it, the better and more comfortable you'll become. So the
yes,
better.
right, that I can attest to that absolutely. And find an environment that that is encouraging, like Myra and I are talking about. Somebody that some place you like to go that you can leave and say, "Oh gosh, I had fun."
Live sports. That has
Whoop.
obviously shifted.
Oh, my silly old phone. I hope I didn't scare Dimitri away. I know Bill told me that he was going to leave, but I hope I didn't scare him away with that. But I do think it's an issue. And I do want the ladies that have been coming to these jams, new ladies I've not seen before, to keep doing it. Come on. But if nobody else and Mira's there and I'm there, we'll support you.
Definitely.
All right. I do a hand pump there with you, Mira. Okay. So we're almost at the end. I just have a few seconds before we're going to end, but I do want to thank you both so very much for putting up with me and coming on my show and cheering me on so many, many times at the jam site we've been together.
It's been an honor, Joy. Thank you for.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. And I do hope you spread the word if you find anybody that would like to have an interview and get out to the public. And so I'm about between my business page, my homepage, and this Matured Musician page, I have about 5,000 people. I'm not quite there yet. And not everybody listens all the time, but it's out there on the internet on YouTube. So if you go to YouTube and you type in interview with After 4 Band.com or just After 4 Band, it should come up and you'll be able to see this and all the other interviews that I've had with people. And I do hope you to come back as your music progresses down the line. And usually about 6 months to a year, you'll be knocking on your door and say, "Hey guys, what are you doing?"
That's wonderful. We'd love to.
All right, wonderful. Take care. I'm glad you're finding your feet in music, and I'll see you down the road.
All right.
Okay.
See you soon.
Bye,
Joy.
everybody.
Bye,
everyone.
guys. Okay, let me see if I can find this. All right, so I do have another guest coming. However, I believe the next weekend, I'm going to look at my calendar here, but I do believe next weekend it's Memorial Day. Maybe not. Let's see. What do we got? May. Oh. Next Monday, I have Sandra Don Rita Lopez. She is a bass player. She'd been around for a long time. She was a skier, an award-winning skier in her youth. She's now applying all those skills to her music. So do tune in. Have a great week. Remember, ladies, if you're out there, come on to the jams. If you get yourself noticed, we'll be happy to support you. And I do want the women in this area to feel they are supported no matter where they go, whether it's a gig, whether it's a jam, or whatever, even busking out there. Okay? Don't give up. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Stay safe.